This video is the first in a series introducing the AG Utilities live effects from Astute Graphics. This is a menu of live effects that can be used together as building blocks, along with native Illustrator live effects to create special appearances in Illustrator that can solve problems, produce beautiful designs, and help you work faster. For this demonstration, we assume you have some knowledge of the Appearance panel in Illustrator. If you'd like an introduction to using the Appearance panel, we have a video linked here and in the description that you can watch. Now we're going to start with a very simple effect that produces these annotation lines. And in order to work with this, you'll need to make sure that you have the VectorScribe plugin installed. And then what we have here is a very simple annotation line style. It started out as a straight path created with the Line Segment tool, and it has a blue stroke and a red arrowhead. And this is something that you can't do natively in Illustrator. Once you have an effect set up like this, you can draw with the same style using the Pen tool, or you can apply this look to existing paths by saving this as a graphic style. So let's take a look at the AG Utilities live effects that I used to create this. First, open the Appearance panel, which you can find in the Window menu. With my path selected, I'll click the twirl downs on the stroke and fill of this path to reveal the settings. The stroke is blue and has a 10-point stroke weight and nothing else. And then above it, we have a red fill. And this fill is what's creating the arrowhead. And it's doing this using a Make Shape effect from the AG Utilities live effects. I can use the I button to turn off the visibility of this Make Shape effect so you can see that it's producing this arrowhead. The link here opens the dialog where you can adjust the settings for this effect. But first, I want to show you where you can find this effect and the other building block effects in the menu. If I go down to the FX button at the bottom of the Appearance panel, we can see all the native Illustrator effects like Drop Shadow and the Photoshop effects. And below that are additional effects. And everything you see in this part of my menu is from Astute Graphics. We have Phantasm, Texturino, VectorScribe, and at the top of this menu is AG Utilities. And that's where we'll find the Make Shape effect and a lot of other effects that are essentially building blocks. These are meant to be used in combination with each other and with native Illustrator live effects. This is like a toolbox that we'll explore, but we're starting very simply with the Make Shape effect. Now let's go back to the red arrowhead. I'll click the link to open the dialog, and we'll look at the settings. In the menu here, you can see we're currently using a triangle. So the red fill is actually being made into a triangle. And we could also make this a circle, a star, and other shapes. Let's go back to the triangle. Under size, we can use absolute, where we can type in an exact size, or we can make it relative to the size of the path. For this, we're using absolute. I'll change this to 65 points wide by 40 points high. And I want the location of the triangle to be at this point on the right end of the path. So I've chosen at anchor points and last. And the 9 block lets you fine-tune the position around that anchor point, so I'm choosing the center right block. The rotation is 180 degrees, and I can use the arrow keys on my keyboard to make adjustments. Now let's look at the location menu. Currently it's set to at anchor points, but if I change this to along path by count, now the arrowheads are all along the path, and I can even randomize them. So there are many ways to customize this, and you definitely want to explore these settings. I'm resetting this to at anchor points and the last anchor point with the center right block in the 9 block, and then I'll click OK. Now that I've made a change, this arrowhead is a different size than the others, so I'll save this as a graphic style by going over to the Graphic Styles panel, and with that arrow selected, I'll click the plus button to add this to my graphic styles. Now I can select the other lines and then click on that graphic style, and now they're updated to match the first arrow. Now let's take a quick look at adding an effect to the stroke. So I'm going to select all of these arrows because I want to make them the same. And then over in the Appearance panel, it's very important to select the attribute that you want to add an effect to. So in this case, I'm going to add an effect to the stroke. So I'm clicking on the stroke, and you can see the blue highlight that lets you know it's selected. Now I'm going into the Effects menu and then down to AG Utilities. And for this example, I'll choose Extend Path. And in this dialog, we can extend the end of the path, the start of the path, or both. I'm going to uncheck End of Path and check Start of Path. And you can see there's a little bit of extra length now on the left side of that path. I'll make this more obvious by making that longer. So 50 points of length has now been added to the start of this path. And again, you have many options here. For example, I can change this from straight to constant radius and fixed. And then I'm adding a curve to the path extension, completely adjustable and fun to play with. For this example though, I'll set this Extend As option back to straight. And for the length, I'll use a negative number. So I'll make this a -50 and hit the Tab key. And now we can see we've created a margin on this path where the blue stroke appearance doesn't start until 50 points along the path. Let me make this a little bit larger. I'm holding down on the Shift key, tapping the down arrow on my keyboard to make this 100. And now I'll click OK. And so what this enables is wherever these annotations wind up, moving them around on my artboard, if I decide I want to realign them to the artboard by using the Align options, I'll always have that built-in margin that is completely adjustable because I can select all of my paths, click on the Extend Path effect, and make adjustments. And I'll click OK. And one last step to close the loop. I want to make sure that my graphic style is updated since I added the Extend Path effect. So let's go over to the Graphic Styles panel. And for this, I'm going to select just one of these arrows because they're all the same. And what you can do here is use the Option or Alt key to overwrite an existing style. So I'll Option or Alt drag until I'm over that original style, see the green plus sign, and then drop it. And now that style has been updated. And when I apply it to another path, we can see it has the same settings. So this has been an introduction to using the AG Utilities Live Effects building blocks for Adobe Illustrator. You can explore all the details about these effects and their settings on the Astute Graphics documentation site at docs.astutegraphics.com. And you can also access this via your Astute Manager. To learn the basics of using the Appearance panel, we have a video linked here and in the description to help you get up and running. And in the next video, we'll build this beautiful, creative appearance using more of the Live Effects building blocks by Astute Graphics for Adobe Illustrator.